therapeutic sessions, float therapy, breathwork, reflexology, stretches, gardening, spa session, and shopping for healthy food and drinks. These and many more will be coming up at the sixth edition of the Eko Wellness Fair, scheduled to hold from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021. Theme: My Mental Health Matters. Demonstration, mental health workshops, therapeutic sessions, float therapy, breathwork, reflexology, stretches, gardening, spa session, and shopping for healthy food and drinks. These and many more will be coming up at the sixth edition of the Eko Wellness Fair, scheduled to hold from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021. Theme: My Mental Health Matters. Special guests include Sarah Boulos, Sisimi of Okwe Farms, Mrs. Shoemimo, Dr. Josh Awesome, Frida of My Burnt Orange, Duchess Nena, and many more. To register, visit ekowellness.net. Registration is free. This is a virtual event, proudly supported by Lagos State Ministry of Health, Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, and our technical partner, Flutterwave.
Welcome to day 2 of the Eko Wellness Fair. I hope you enjoyed yesterday. Yesterday was a great day filled with a nice mental health session by Dr. Chris. We also had float therapy. For me, my favorite was the egulicious demonstration by Bola of Veggie Victory. I'm not vegan, but I'll definitely be trying her twist on egusi using tofu and moringa leaves. So we're live on our Facebook page, which is Eko Wellness Fair, and also on our website, which is ekowellness.net, www.ekowellness.net, and also our YouTube channel, Eko Wellness Fair. All the sessions from yesterday can be found on the YouTube page, so please go there to watch them. We're also live on the Facebook page of the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Lagos Tourism. So today's schedule, we have, first of all, a storytelling session titled I Survived COVID by Get Africa. We have a cooking demonstration by Safi of Safi Living. We then have a session on the effects of COVID on our mental well-being by Dr. Margaret Ojeahere of Get Africa as well. Then we have breathwork by Sarah Boulos, and the last session will be a short film screening on mental health by AMAA. So 2 of the sessions today are facilitated by Get Africa. Get Africa stands for Global Emerging Pathogens Treatment Consortium. It's an African-led health and biosecurity think tank in Africa. So they're focused on addressing issues based on health and biosecurity challenges. It was established in 2014 as a direct response to the Ebola pandemic, and also they've been there to deal with other issues we have, health related, like Lassa fever, and of course now COVID-19. So it's an African-led multidisciplinary forum of experts working together to support Africa's institutional strengthening, so that we're able to have health emergencies and just tackle different pandemics. So the first session will start by Get Africa with a storytelling session by two COVID-19 survivors, Mr. Kinshola Olatinwo and Mr. Ojeahere. So we'll start with the storytelling session.
Demonstration, mental health workshops, therapeutic sessions, float therapy, breathwork, reflexology, stretches, gardening, spa session, and shopping for healthy food and drinks. These and many more will be coming up at the 6th edition of the Eko Wellness Fair, scheduled to hold from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021. Theme: My Mental Health Matters. Special guests include Sarah Boulos, Sisimi of Okwe Farms, Mrs. Showemimo, Dr. Joshua Awesome, Frida of My Burnt Orange, Duchess Nena, and many more. To register, visit ecowellness.net. Registration is free. This is a virtual event. Proudly supported by Lagos State Ministry of Health, Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, and our technical partner, Flutterwave.
Yep, like it's on 35 degrees. 35 degrees.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Can you hear
Good
me?
afternoon. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Shay. Thank you for agreeing to share your story with us.
You're
Um,
welcome.
okay. So can you please share a little about yourself? What you
Yeah,
do for a living?
my name is Awosanya Oluwaseyi.
Okay.
I'm a COVID-19 response volunteer. I work at IDH Lagos State Biobank. That's what I do for a living.
Okay. Nice to meet you. So can you please share your COVID experience with us?
First of all, I'll start by saying COVID is real. So anybody that feels that COVID is not real, like he or she, I will say is a goner because COVID is real. Like I would say literally, I started working for Lagos State Biobank, let's say July last year. Then when I started working for them, obviously I'll be hearing about it. So I was so conscious of anything I do. If I touch the door, I'll sanitize my hand and all. Then sometime October, I was not having symptoms. I couldn't even come to work. I can remember vividly. I couldn't even come to work. They were even begging me at home that I should come and take my test. And I got to the work that I had to take my sample and everything at the office. Then unknowingly for me, my result came out the next day and I was positive. Wow. When I could not even, I didn't know what to do at that point. I was so not myself. I remember vividly it was my brother I called that he was not the one cheering me up that I should not worry, nothing's going to happen to me. I'll be fine and everything. From there, he now told my mommy and I had to go home. I got the drugs. The doctor called me. The doctor spoke to me, so I got the drugs and everything, like vitamin C, 1,000 milligram, the zinc, and some other things. So when I got home now, I started taking the drugs. Luckily for me, in my house, everybody was scared because when they want to give me my food, they will just drop it in front of my room. Nobody will want to enter inside my room. They will be like, she is positive. I mean, I was not like, but I'm fine. I'm not shaking again. I'm good. I'm getting better. They didn't want to hear me at all. They were just like, wow, that she is positive. She is positive. At the end of the day, after 1 week, I now went back to the office again to just check myself. I was fine and healthy. The doctor told me that don't worry, you're fine. Nothing wrong with me again. So man, it was not just nice at all. I was indoors for a week. Thanks to Alimosho Healthcare, thanks to they called me, they spoke to me. They were like, hope I'm fine, hope I'm doing good, hope I'm better now. I was like, yeah, thank you very much. But that time, I won't lie to you, when I had the COVID, I was not myself. Like, I was feeling disheartened. The way people treated me on the streets, outside, even calls, they were like, wow, I'm positive. I didn't believe it. This. That COVID, I was telling them COVID is real. I was scared of my life that, what's the next thing I'm going to do? Am I going to be alive or dead or something? But I'm fine now. I'm better. I'm good. I thank God for everything.
Okay, thanks for sharing with us. Can you share what was going through your mind, like whilst you were in hospital? You know, just generally, what were you thinking? How did you feel?
I was thinking that this is how I'll leave this world without achieving anything in life. I just started working. And for crying out loud, I'm working in healthcare. I can contact the COVID easily. I was like, wow. So finally, I mean, I was believing that my genotype, the mood and mindset I got then, I was believing that my genotype, me, I'm AA, I'm O positive, I'm have a strong genotype, I'll fight this thing. But when I was in the hospital, man, it wasn't nice at all. Like, I just thank God I'm fine. I won't lie to you. Everything I was going through my mind was like, I don't want to die. I'm still young. I just want to enjoy my life. I've not even done anything. I need to take care of my mom because I only have a mom. My dad is late and all. So I was just like, wow, not now, not now, not now. But at the end of it, I'm fine. Thank God for everything.
And so, how did people treat you funny? You said they treated you funny. So, what did they do, and how did that make you feel?
The choosing funny was nobody wanted to come close to me. Everybody was keeping a distance from me, like 2 or 3 feet far from me. They want to give me food now. They will put sanitizer beside me. They will put so before they even drop the plate, they will sanitize their hand. Before they touch, they'll be like, "I'm fine." They'll be on nose marks and everything. So it was not just nice at all. Like I was like, imagine I'm not looking like a vegetable. God forbid. It was not just nice at all.
And so, was anybody else in your house affected, or it was just you?
It was just me alone. Because that same period, I work at IDH with my sister. So that same period, she had to take a sample too, but she was not positive. She was negative, so she was fine and everything. So just to leave me and all.
And so, what was your recovery period?
I was fine in 7 days. 7 days, I was okay. I was fine already. I could come outside. I was not shaking. I was running temperature. My head was not banging. I was not having cough. I was not having catarrh. I could breathe well. I was fine.
Okay, I've spoken with a few people who have survived it, and they did say they had some other symptoms later. Um, did you have anything later, or you've just been able to carry on normally?
Normally later, like 2 months or 1 month after, I normally have cough and catarrh. I just feel it. Maybe right away into the smoke and everything that affected me. It was not like the first time I had the COVID because I still
Okay.
had the COVID again. I'm a rerun. I had the COVID again. I had it February this year, and this time I had it February when they took my sample when I had it, I was positive. But it wasn't like the last time. I was stronger than before. I was
Okay.
okay. I just took drugs and it was fine. Got the drugs and everything. I was fine.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. We appreciate
Okay.
it. Okay,
You're
so we'll move.
welcome.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Mr. Akintola. Thanks, Shane.
You're welcome. God bless you.
You
Have a
too.
rest of the day.
Okay. Welcome back. So we will go on to the second person who will share their COVID experience with us, Mr. Akinshola Olatinwo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Yes,
Akishola. Welcome to the Eko Wellness Fair. Thank you for
thank
coming
you.
on to share your story with us. Can you
Thank
please
you.
tell us what something about yourself and what you do for a living?
All right. My name is Olatinwo Akinsoji. I'm a researcher, but at the moment, public health researcher. But at the moment, I work with the Lagos State Biobank. I manage the data, and you know, I manage the data with them at the moment.
Okay. So can you please share your COVID experience?
All right. I had COVID sometimes in November last year.
Mm,
I was asymptomatic. I wasn't having any symptoms. But the thing was just that I took the test myself. I subjected myself to the test because I found that my something strange. I just felt my body was strange somehow. I knew that something wasn't just right with my body. So I went to the office very early. I got to get to the office very, very early because I did it discreetly. I did it discreetly. So I went to the office and I got my sample taken, and I have to wait 48 hours before my result could come out. Just because I handled the data, so I was privileged to see my results first. So when I found that it was positive, I just had to, tell my boss that this is okay. I was asked a lot of questions. Are you well, I told them I have no symptoms, but they just had to let me go at that point in time because, when anybody comes down positive in a place, they have to say, okay, go home, and then as long as you are not having any symptoms, and then you'll be properly taken care of. You'll be managed at home, home care and stuff like that. But when I was positive, the only thing I thought in my head was my wife because during the lockdown, I got married, and I know I can't tell my wife I'm positive because she worries a lot. And then in her state, I couldn't tell her because I didn't want anything to happen to her. So I was in a period that, okay, what am I going to do? If I didn't go to work, my ex will have asked me a lot of questions and I wouldn't want to lie. So there's a lot of things going on in my head. I couldn't tell my parents. Both of my parents are hypertensive and they have been reading a lot about COVID-19, what is happening in the Western world and everything like that. So I couldn't tell them because, you know, it was a dilemma for me. I couldn't voice out to tell anybody this is what is wrong with me. Even when I was about to tell my elder ones, the ones that I know that they can still accommodate it, I had to
mm,
tell them that, well, brothers, your brother is down with COVID. Oh. I was like, they were they were dumbfounded. And I said, okay, what are we going to do? I had to tell them that I wasn't showing any symptoms, but the challenge I have, I don't know how I can tell my wife. So they had to tell me, do not tell anybody. Even as at this time that I'm speaking with you, I couldn't tell my wife, I couldn't tell my family. And what was scaring me was that I was afraid if my wife would have, caught the virus too, because at least we've been together so I just had to discreetly, stylishly make sure that she also go for the test. Because of her state, I say it's the pregnant women had to take the test so that when you go to antenatal they won't disturb you and stuff like that. She had to take the test, and before she did that, there was one particular day she told me that she cannot smell anything again. Omo,
mm,
I was like, oh my God, she can't smell anything again. I know that's one of the symptoms. It's like, oh. So she took the test, and when I received the shock, I just have to, she also was positive, but I didn't tell her. I just went, I had to call the people in charge of the home care. I said, what can I do? My wife is pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So they told me, okay. They looked at all I figured and said, okay, it's not a worse thing. The only symptom she had was she couldn't smell. I just had to get the drugs for her to use. And I was making sure. So as she was using her own drugs, I was using my drugs to make sure that everything was fine. And then later on, about 2 weeks, because she will ask me a question, why are we using this drug? I say it's for your own immunity. I couldn't tell her it's for your own immunity. So, 2 weeks after, I subjected myself for testing, and she also did. And then we came out negative. It was just as if a heavy body was taken off my head, because you reading the statistic, the fatality on a daily basis of what is happening. And so many times I had to ask my wife, I hope you are not asthmatic. I hope you don't have any underlying health issue, because anytime I read and said that okay, people dying is because majorly in Nigeria because they have underlying health challenges. I like say no, I'm okay, I'm fine. Are you sure? Look at the way you are breathing. Are you sure you are not asthmatic? Maybe you didn't know. I had to be doing that just to make sure that I'm stable up here. It wasn't very funny, but just thank God we scaled through that.
So have you told your wife now that both of you caught COVID?
I haven't, because she has not put to bed. I haven't, because
And
one
your
one thing about my wife is my parents. I haven't told them, because
but you survived it. What are you keeping the information for?
now the thing is this, that I know, like for instance, my wife worries a lot, you know
Okay.
and by the time I tell her now, she might begin to attribute some things that is happening to her now to that experience. and
Okay.
and I want her, because very soon she'll put them to bed. So after that, when she's okay, I'll now tell her, oh, yeah, you remember this time that you said you lost smell? Oh, this is what happened to you. And at that point in time too, this is what happened to me. Now my
So
parents,
being
now my parents, I haven't told my parents yet. They are just coming to terms that okay, although COVID is bad here, but in Nigeria, I think it's mild. Because I won't lie to you, for the fact that my father knew that I was working in a COVID endemic area, oh my goodness, on a daily basis, he will call. And I know that him calling, if I should tell him that this is what is happening, it's going to affect him one way or the other. He's hypertensive. So I can't. So, but now the calls is reducing on a daily basis. So I'm expecting it to get to the barest minimum in which I can say, okay, daddy, this is what happened, mommy, this is what happened, but I'm fine and both of us are fine. But my wife, I planned I planned and I promised myself that I was still going to tell them, but I want to tell them is in such a way that it will. No, my wife is still very heavy. If I tell her now, to break down. So
you're
that's
still
why
going
I
to
haven't.
tell her when she's going into hospital. That's information that has to be known medically.
Yeah, I will.
So you mentioned that you didn't tell her. So how did you handle the period of isolation? Because I'm guessing you had to isolate yourself since you weren't going to work.
And now the thing is, we were positive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that actually helped me to conceal that information from her, and then we isolated ourselves together. So at that point in time, no, okay, I had to tell my brother so that there won't be any visits. So we were both at home, we isolated together, and then when you were just asking that, "Ah, you didn't go to work," I said, yeah, the stress I've been going through all this while, so they gave me some days off so that I can stay. See, I've tried that with some information in the past, even why, despite the fact that we are newlyweds, I've tried that and I see the way she broke down. You understand? That was why I haven't. But I'm still going to tell her, I promise that.
Okay. And how did you tell any of your friends? Is there a way they treated you when they found out?
No, I I didn't tell. Well, none of my friends are very close to me at that point in time, and the kind of friends I have are just colleagues. Okay, colleagues, and every one of them know that anytime we didn't see somebody for 1, 2, 3 days, oh, the person is COVID. But so the only thing they do is they just call her to check on me. How are you feeling? And then they give moral support,
Hmm.
to help sometimes they try to help your psychology that, okay, don't read anything about COVID at this point in time. Don't look at the statistic, whether in Nigeria or the world. Don't. Sometimes I had to mute, block on my messages so that message cannot enter. Block on my social media, like for instance on Telegram. There is this way that NCDC sent every day report like that, so I have to block it at that point in time. But when I was fine, I unblocked everything and life came back to normal.
Okay, good to know. Well, congratulations on surviving it. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you for watching. We don't want to take too much of your time today. I know we've gone slightly past schedule, but we will try our best to put everything together and end as quickly as possible before 6 p.m. I somehow seem to have missed introducing myself. I do apologize. My name is Lola Odabo. I'm a wellness coach. I'm the founder of Trim and Fettle, a well living brand. So we used to make healthy meals. I'm now moving towards teaching people how to live better by learning how to cook better and, just getting healthier habits. So this is me. I'm a fitness fanatic. I work out 5 days a week most times. So I encourage people to exercise and eat well, enjoy life. So we'll go on to a cooking demonstration by Safi of Safi Living.
Hi, welcome. My name is Safi, and today we're going to be making some black bean nourish bowls. So let's go over the ingredients quickly. So what I have here is some black beans that I soaked overnight. I just soaked them, rinsed them, picked out all of the stones and all the bad ones that I could find, and soaked them overnight. Because I'm using dried black beans, I highly recommend doing that. But this recipe, you don't have to use dried black beans. I thought, for this demo, I'm gonna do it from scratch completely. But to be perfectly honest, mostly when I make these, I just make them with canned black beans because a lot of the time I can't be bothered to soak them and then cook them up for a long time. And if I really want them quickly and I'm craving them, If I'm very organized, I will soak them, cook them up, and put them in my freezer so that I have them, the fresh ones. There is a slightly better taste, I think, if you do them from scratch like this, but you know, lazy girl sometimes. But yes, so I've soaked these already, left them overnight. We're gonna boil these up. It's gonna take about an hour on the stove, but we'll add lots of aromatics, and that will be the base. And I'll talk you through, if you don't do it this way, you're using cans, I'll talk you through how to do that as well. And then, as I said, we have some plantain that we're gonna do in the oven. We also have some onion, red onion and white onion. The white onion is gonna go in with our black beans. The red onion is gonna go in with our quick pickle, which is gonna be a cabbage pickle. So I just have a white cabbage here. If you wanna use a red cabbage, go ahead, use whatever you have. Leave it out if you don't like cabbage. We also have some carrots that are gonna go into that pickle as well. And as well as some pimento or allspice. So if you can find the pimento berries, then that's perfect. If not, don't worry. If you have allspice, I've never tried it this way before, but I'm sure you could add a little bit of the ground allspice if that's easier for you to find. But ideally you have the berry. If not, just leave it out, put some other aromatics that you like in there, and that will work perfectly fine. What else do we have? So we have some mango, as I said, for our salsa. We have some cilantro or coriander, garlic and ginger. This will go into our beans and into our quick pickle. As well as some lime. We have some Scotch bonnets here. Use whichever peppers that you want to use. Use as much spice as you want to use. I like a bit of spice, and I love the flavor that comes with Scotch bonnets. So I tend to use Scotch bonnets more frequently because it does add quite a different taste. If you can get your hands on Scotch bonnets, go ahead and use those. A good alternative would be habaneros. And there are also seasoning peppers, which are harder for me to find, but if you can find those, they don't have the heat that Scotch bonnets have, but they do have a lot of that great flavor. They're really easy to find in the Caribbean, but harder to find in other places, so I'm using Scotch bonnets. Okay, so we have some peppers as well. This is gonna go into our aromatics as well as our sofrito, which is the base that we're gonna cook everything up on for our black beans. We have some spring onions, just for that freshness we'll add throughout. And then I suppose the last part is our spices. So we have some bay leaves that are gonna go into our black beans. We also have some cumin, some oregano, some garlic powder, and some paprika, and a vegetable stock cube. If you have fresh stock, go ahead and use that. Use whatever you have on hand. I just have these, so I'm going to use these bouillon cubes. So the recipe for this spice mix, it's actually an adobo spice mix. It's hard for me to find, so I've just kind of put together my own one. Quick one. If you have turmeric, go ahead and put that in as well. Great. This is all the spice mix for the black beans. Add some turmeric, that's perfect. I don't have any on hand right now, so I'm leaving it out for this recipe. If you have fresh turmeric, even better. Yeah, so this is the spice mix. If you can find adobo, go ahead and use that as well. This is the quantity of spice that I have. It's half a teaspoon of each one, but really, taste it. Add more. If you think it needs more cumin, go ahead and add more cumin as well. The other things that I'll obviously be adding are a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a splash of vinegar here and there. cider vinegar, as well as your oil of choice if you have the berry. If not, just leave it out. Put a quick pickle, which is going to be a cabbage pickle. So I just have a white cabbage here. If you want to use a red cabbage, go ahead, use whatever you have. Leave it out if you don't like cabbage. We also have some carrots that are going to go into that pickle as well, and as well as some pimento or allspice. So if you can find the pimento berries, then that's perfect. If not, don't worry. If you have allspice, I've never tried it this way before, but I'm sure you could add a little bit of the ground allspice if that's easier for you to find. But ideally you have the berry. If not, just leave it out, put some other aromatics that you like in there, and that will work perfectly fine. What else do we have? So we have some mango, as I said, for our salsa. We have some cilantro or coriander, garlic and ginger. This will go into our beans and into our quick pickle, as well as some lime. We have some Scotch bonnets here. Use whichever peppers that you want to use. Use as much spice as you want to use. I like a bit of spice, and I love the flavor that comes with Scotch bonnets, so I tend to use Scotch bonnets more frequently because it does add quite a different taste. If you can get your hands on Scotch bonnets, go ahead and use those. A good alternative would be habaneros. And there are also seasoning peppers, which are harder for me to find, but if you can find those, they don't have the heat that Scotch bonnets have, but they do have a lot of that great flavor. They're really easy to find in the Caribbean, but harder to find in other places, so I'm using Scotch bonnets. Okay, so we have some peppers as well. This is gonna go into our aromatics as well as our sofrito, which is the base that we're going to cook everything up on for our black beans. We have some spring onions just for that freshness we'll add throughout. And then I suppose the last part is our spices. So we have some bay leaves that are going to go into our black beans. We also have some cumin, some oregano, some garlic powder, and some paprika, and a vegetable stock cube. If you have fresh stock, go ahead and use that. Use whatever you have on hand. I just have these, so I'm going to use these bouillon cubes. So the recipe for this spice mix, it's actually an adobo spice mix. It's hard for me to find, so I've just kind of put together my own one. Quick one. If you have turmeric, go ahead and put that in as well. Great. This is all the spice mix for the black beans. Add some turmeric. That's perfect. I don't have any on hand right now, so I'm leaving it out for this recipe. If you have fresh turmeric, even better. Yeah, so this is the spice mix. If you can find adobo, go ahead and use that as well. This is the quantity of spice that I have. It's about half a teaspoon of each one, but really, taste it. Add more. If you think it needs more cumin, go ahead and add more cumin as well. The other things that I'll obviously be adding are a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a splash of vinegar here and there. I like to use apple cider vinegar, as well as your oil of choice. If you don't like to use oil, it's perfectly fine and easy to just do a lot of this cooking with water. And I will try and do a lot of that as well today. Okay, so let's head over to the stove and we'll get started on our black beans. These definitely take the longest, so we want to get these going. And then while those are going, we can get started on our quick pickle and our plantain and all the other goodies that we're going to put together. So let's get started. this is your bowl. So whatever you want to do with this, if there's something you don't like on here, don't add it, add whatever you want. If there's something that you have already, or there's an idea that you think would be really yummy to bring this together more, add it in, pick and choose. This is so great. You can make all of these things individually, have them, pull them out, and build your bowl as you want it to be. This rice, for example, I had that from dinner last night, so I just put it on with the bowl, but you could add anything you want to. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you try some of these recipes. Even if you just try a couple of them, they pack so much flavor individually, and you add them together and they're such a great combination. Tag me if you make any of these. I'd love to see your creations at Safi Living on Instagram. And thank you again for watching. Bye.
The black bean bowl looked amazing. I was sold once I saw the mango salsa and the plantain. Give me plantain any day. Mangoes, I'm so happy they're in season. I've been doing all sorts with them. For everyone watching on Facebook or on YouTube, please like, follow, and subscribe. Eko Wellness will be happy to have that. The website stream is also back on for any of you who had issues earlier on. We do apologize for that. The recipe shared by Safi is available in our newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, please go on the website on ekowellness.net and register so that you're able to get the newsletter, which you'll get tomorrow before tomorrow's session. So now we go on to our next session, which is the effects of COVID, pandemics, lockdowns on our mental well-being by Dr. Margaret Ojeahere of Get Africa. Dr. Ojeahere is a consultant physician, a fellow of the West African College of Physicians, and director/co-founder of Neotic Minders Health Services, a wellness and preventive psychiatry center located in Jos Plateau State. She obtained her Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery degree from the University of Ilorin and has over 15 years of experience as a practicing physician. Her research interests span across the psychogeriatrics, women's mental health, biological psychiatry, community psychiatry, and the spectrum of trauma as it impacts on psychiatry, and she has published articles in peer-reviewed scholarly journals. She's a member of several professional bodies, both local and international, such as the Society of Biological Psychiatry, International Psychogeriatrics Association, Early Career Psychiatrics, arm of the World Psychiatry, amongst others. She's passionate about helping and supporting people with mental health issues. She's a great advocate, and she's passionate about reducing stigma and discrimination of people suffering from forms of mental illness. So we'll start her session now. Are we ready for Dr. Are you ready for Dr. Ojeahere's session, please? Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
I can, but there seems to be some noise in your background.
Okay.
So
Can you hear me?
maybe you're connected to devices? Because there's an echo.
No, can you hear me? Is this so
Okay,
echoing?
it sounds better. It sounds better now.
Okay.
No, I can hear echoing in the background.
Seriously, I don't know what is echoing. I can't find how to show you what is echoing. Can you hear me above
Okay,
the
let's
echo?
start. Yes, I can. So let's go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try and amplify my voice so that it doesn't,
We'll be able.
yeah, doesn't help us so much. So thank you, and hello everyone. Thanks for the kind introduction. I almost didn't recognize that that was me. I want to thank the organizers of the Eko Wellness Fair, and particularly Ojeahere has been keeping in touch with me, and also the leaders of the Global Emerging Pathogens Treatment Consortium for having me represent them. It's a privilege I do not take for granted. And I'll be speaking on the effects of COVID, lockdown, pandemics on our mental well-being. That this is a topic that I'm actually very happy to hear about, not just because I'm a psychiatrist, but because the organizers thought it important to look beyond COVID and look at pandemic as an ongoing thing. Because the tendency for us to just say, let's manage what's happening right now. But the fact is that pandemics have been in existence since time immemorial. We had it's no longer news that we had the plague and the swine flu and all that, and for decades and centuries it's been with us. And in Asian countries, there's a mass that's the Middle East respiratory syndrome, the SARS, and local to us, Lassa fever, Ebola. But perhaps because it's more local to regions, the hue and cry wasn't much. But I'm not downplaying by no means the effect, the profound effect COVID had on the world at large, because it was new, it was novel, it was something that was complex. Scientists couldn't understand it, and so it puts the world in a stand. It really held the world to a standstill. So I want to acknowledge the organizers for taking out, not just taking out time, but to be bold to address a topical issue that is not so popular because of stigma and all that. And we heard that when our lived survivors were giving their own their experiences. And for the first speaker, stigma was quite high. And that reminds me of in the early days of COVID, it was a stigmatized illness. You don't want to tell people because of how people will treat you and all that. So those are some of the ways that COVID affected us, yeah, because it has this it affected people directly and indirectly. Directly, yeah, infect people. We knew it as a respiratory disease. The infectivity rate was quite high. So we are really, and then there was this fear that was very fatal and all that. And indirectly, I think the indirect consequences were actually worse because there was this what I call infobesity. I prefer to call it infobesity than misinformation and so much information. There was so much in the media on the media back then. There was half truth, or there were half truths. There were conspiracy theories. There was a real thing going on to educate us on how we can be to adopt precautionary measures, and so it was almost too much. I dare say it was actually too much. And at some point, you had to tell people just switch off, just take time off the media because it was more detrimental than good, particularly for children because yeah,
Sorry,
sorry.
can I interrupt for a second? There seems to be some feedback in your background. Do you have your TV or radio on by chance?
No, I'm in the library. Why I think can you still hear? I don't know what I don't know. Really, I'm in the library. It's quite quiet.
There's a hum. and then very loud behind you.
And it's very loud behind me. Seems to be coming from my system. I don't know why it's doing that. And it's really, really loud, as in really loud at your end. Is it very
Yes,
loud?
so I can hear you. There's something interfering the sound. Oh, now we've lost you.
Oh, oh, I don't. Okay, so it's really, really obstructing the flow of the discussion. Is it?
So I can hear you, but it's not very audible.
Okay, can I go off and try another? I don't want to take too much
Okay.
time. I'm going to speak
Well,
from my device.
you're in the library, so there's no other device on in the
No,
library.
there's
Log
no-
on your computer or phone.
I'm thinking it's from my computer rather, because I'm hearing this. So it's quite, I don't know why it's coming really. From my sister, it's from my sister.
But
Do you want
something else, is
to
there any other on your system? Maybe you were doing watching something else with video on your system that could be interfering.
No, from waiting everything. Oh, is this still there?
It's still there, it's quite loud.
Okay, give me time. Let me try from my phone. Let me log in from my phone. Do you have that time?
Okay. Well, not for time.
Can you take me off?
Okay, you're logging in as okay. Sorry, everyone. We seem to have a bit of a technical problem from Dr. Ojeahere's end. So she's going to try and log in again so we can have a better sound from her end. So please bear with us. She'll be back shortly.
With Eko Wellness presents the 6th edition of the Eko Wellness Fair, themed My Mental Health Matters. This edition will feature therapeutic sessions, reflexology, breathwork, spa sessions, float therapy, mental health conversations, cooking demonstrations, online shopping sessions, and many more. This virtual event will start from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021 from 12 noon to 2 p.m. daily. To register, please visit www.ekowellness.net. Proudly supported by Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Lagos State Ministry of Health, our technical partner, Flutterwave.
Therapeutic sessions, float therapy, breathwork, reflexology, stretches, gardening, spa session, and shopping for healthy food and drinks. These and many more will be coming up at the 6th edition of the Eko Wellness Fair, scheduled to hold from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021. Theme: My Mental Health Matters. Special guests include Sarah Boulos, Sisimi of Ope Farms, Mrs. Shoemimo, Dr. Joshua Awesome, Frida of My Burnt Orange, Duchess Nena, and many more. To register, visit ekowellness.net. Registration is free. This is a virtual event. Proudly supported by Lagos State Ministry of Health, Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, and our technical partner, Flutterwave.
Welcome back. I guess Dr. Ojeahere will join us shortly. In the meantime, if you've been sitting, I encourage you to get up, walk around, stretch a little, and then, oh yes, she's back. Okay, welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, thanks. And so sorry for the inconvenience and all that, the technical hitch from my end. I'm so sorry.
This is much clearer,
So can you hear me? Is it better?
Yes, much better.
All right, fine. Okay, so I'll just continue from there. So I was talking about the direct and indirect consequences or implications of how COVID affected people, or affects people rather. So back then, when it was in the height of it, there was the heightened anxiety. There was this fear. People, and I like the first speaker, he brought that out. People weren't sure, am I going to die? Am I going to get infected? How do I tell people? What do I do? And so that was adding to distress. And interestingly, it wasn't just limited to people who had some existing mental health conditions. Last year, my phone lines, my colleagues' lines were busy, clinics were busy, not with mentally ill people like we know it, but people like you and I who were just overwhelmed with the psychological distress of the information they were getting, seeing people. Several people lost closed ones rather. And because in the initial stage, there was so much precautionary measures. You couldn't go mourn the person, you couldn't go to the greet them. The normal societal tradition of going to hang around people and all that was not there because of the lockdown and social and physical distancing. So some people didn't have closure. And while it might look like, yeah, COVID-19 has passed and this is so 2020, the fact of the matter is the mental health implications for people are just evolving. It's no longer news that COVID-19, the next pandemic is mental health, is mental illness, because it's not as profound, it's not as there in our face like COVID-19 and infectious diseases, but it's actually playing out. We're seeing more people coming down with, well, I don't want to use the word funny, but not so severe, but we know that there's something wrong, and they know there's something wrong. And so we're seeing more cases of professionals, regular people having this. And because of the stigma attached to mental illness, because of the stigma attached to COVID-19, people don't want to talk about it. So I wasn't particularly shocked. I know that some people were like shocked to hear the second speaker say he hadn't divulged it to his wife. But you never know until you are there how strong stigma can be when you are faced with it, how stigmatizing some illnesses can be. And I guess coming from that angle, I'm not defending him, but stigmatizing diseases have a way of preventing people from doing the right thing at the right time. Okay, so those were the losses, and then people lost their jobs, companies had to downsize, the country economies generally were reduced to, well, came to a crunch somewhat because of the lockdown and all the uncertainties and all that. So those are some of the ways that the COVID-19 actually affected us. However, we've had this thing for years now. We've had Ebola virus, which had at some point created some anxiety and mass hysteria and depression, but nobody was looking that way because it's Ebola, leave them. It's just the physical. Let's treat the hemorrhage. Let's treat the illnesses and all that. And nobody was talking about mental health. So when I say I really commend you guys for taking a bold step, I'm not saying it lightly because mental health is very important. When we're talking about health, people tend to look at, let's just remind ourselves of the definition of health, which is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being. But more often than not, we find out that people tend to look at the physical, to some extent the social, and the mental component is like a third wheel. But COVID has brought it to the fore, and people are looking at it differently now because now they realize that it can happen to anybody. I liked when Lola asked the speaker, I think the first speaker, if he had any complications thereafter. He didn't have, but several people have some complications. Some have hallucinatory experiences where they hear voices, they see things. And emerging research is showing that in the long term, people might come down with dementia and come down with some mental health conditions after they have recovered fully from COVID. So this topic is as pertinent now as it would have been last year. And so I've mentioned some of the symptoms that one can have, but some of the common disorders, mental health disorders that we saw, anxiety was up there among children, among adults, across board, anxiety was there. What differed was the degree. everybody was to an extent apprehensive, but some people were able to, because of their personality type, because of their social support system, they were able to handle it better. Some just freaked out. And then we had depression. I'm not going to flog it, but we know what depression is. We've heard a lot about depression. We had a lot of people coming down with depressive illnesses, the mild form, the moderate form, the severe form. We are seeing more. Well, now it looks like we're out of the woods here, but we are seeing more cases of suicide. Now, I have several on the ward who have been suicidal, and these are within the adolescent age. We are seeing more substance use disorder because people in their bid to find answers and to escape the fears, some people started engaging in maladaptive coping strategies, using substance, using pornography, and internet addiction is like got actually increased much more. And you might say, why are we having this conversation? It's important because before COVID-19, as of 2019, 20 to 30% of Nigerians had a form of mental illness, as according to the federal government of Nigeria, had a form of mental illness. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, well, in the peak of it rather, research showed that depression had gone up to 6 to 10 times the normal, what was existing before. And before then, the number of people that had depression in Nigeria was 7 million. So take that to 6 to 10 times. So we're talking about a third of Nigerians have depression. So it is important we have these conversations. It's important to get it to the fore. And it's important we know what to do because it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all, depression, PTSD, suicide, and all that. The important thing really is, okay, fine, we know these things are here. What can we do about it? And one of the key thing, okay, before I go to the key thing, importantly, I must say that these interventions, these things that we can do, occurs at individual levels, occurs at societal level. We are all caretakers of each other. And if we hadn't known that, COVID-19 sort of showed it, that we need ourselves. Social support is protective for mental health. Important. So now coming to the individual level, what can we do? Importantly, identify your stressor, identify your fears, name them, not necessarily verbalizing them. You could just write them down. But when you are able to reflect and identify this, you're on the right path to healing or to good care. So identify the stressors, name them, identify your red flags, and then depending on the severity, because I must stress that for severe cases, please reach out to a professional. If it's the less severe ones, you can handle that. Let's talk about it. Let's reach out to somebody. Let's talk to the right person, not the person who is going to compound your problem, not the person who's going to make you a gist and say, oh, did you know that this person, even though he's a fit farm, is having this problem, and then compounds your issue. So talk to the right person. You identify who you know has your back, who is there for you. And then you engage in, thank God Lola is a fitness, she used fanatic. I don't want to use the word fanatic, but she is a fitness influencer. That's fine for me. Five days a week is perfect. So talk to somebody who, eat healthy, exercise. I'm not going to overflog that. We know that you cannot separate that from it's health. It stimulates the right neurons. It helps in rejuvenation and all that. And then sleep. We just can't but get adequate sleep. I'm not going to talk about sleep because that's a different thing entirely. That's a whole ball game. And then engage in mental exercises. I tell people these are like, seriously, you have mental exercise? I'm like, yeah. When was the last time you tried to navigate? You're going to destination A and you don't go through A to B, you go through A, Z, and D. Finding new routes to a place, it actually helps stimulate your neurons. When was the last time you tried to write with you're right-handed, did you try writing with your left hand? And try and provoke the neurons on the other side, the hemisphere of the brain. They're actually mental health exercises. And learning how to play a new musical instrument, playing a board game, Those are ways you can actually engage your brain and help to rejuvenate these neurons that actually, and then go read something, go learn something, not necessarily online, but go learn something. And yes, then mindfulness techniques rather are very, very important. Relaxation exercises, breathing exercises, going to your happy place, staying off media. Sometimes it can be too much for us, too much, and it's addictive. You just start, I just want to stay 5 minutes here, and before you know, it's like 1 hour, like, oh, I've not done this, I'm not doing this. And before you know, oh my goodness, you are not happier than when you started because you've seen some things that have upset you. And then you're worked up and you're now insulting somebody and you're going to bed angry, agitated. So sometimes you might need to just go cold turkey on the media, on some aspect, maybe Facebook, maybe something, but it's very important. And living in the moment is important. It's also important to smell the coffee or smell the roses. Particularly for those who are in Lagos, you are always like on the move. But it's important to just take time and smell the coffee. Just enjoy life. I don't know if you still hear birds chirp. I don't know if you still see, but just take a walk or connect with earth. Just walk barefooted and just connect with nature. See, take time to watch the sunset or something. You'll be surprised how calming and soothing what that does for you. Yeah, and then it's also important that we have the right social connection. I've mentioned that. Get friends that are beneficial, that will help you to grow, not people who will make you worse off. Distressing exercise techniques, avoid hot button topics and all that. And if your medications for whatever reason, please continue with your medication. This is not a time to stop. At some point during the COVID-19 pandemic, there were several things. I heard one speaker say he was a candidate for COVID. I think the first speaker that he had he had AA and he assumed he was going to be able to, he had the genotype AA and he assumed he was going to be able to fight everything. And those are some of the misconceptions we had back then. But it's important to stay healthy, build your immune system, eat healthy, yeah. Take your medications. If you are taking something, don't stop now. There's no time to stop. Because the truth is, pandemics might not go so soon. I'm not a prophet. I'm not trying to be prophet of doom here, but our lifestyle with globalization, with technological innovations, with climate change and all that, we're coming in contact with more wild animals. We're coming in contact, or we're having more exposure to radiation and all sorts of things. So it's important that we live healthy. Thank God for people like Lola and Oyi who are pushing forth this, and it's not all medications like you come to see me and I just give you a jab or something. No, it's important that you live healthy and maintain the right connection, yeah, social group. It's also important that we have this balance, this work-life balance, because yes, there's a tendency to bring work home and not work-life balance. Sorry, I meant to say work-life integration. We don't talk balance anymore. We're talking integration. And there's a tendency for us to try and strike that connection, that integration. Balance is more like a demarcation. This is this, this is that. Or integration, that work-life integration tends to connectiveness, yes, connectedness rather. For the larger group, we need to look out for people. I had this lady in church very beautiful lady, very sweet lady, and she's always smiling and all that. Only for last week, she gave a testimony that she was actually suicidal and she had been contemplating killing herself, but she kept smiling and everybody, she has a beautiful voice, she sings in the choir and all that. And she would have just died. Yeah, everybody just felt but we have those people who are happy-go-lucky. They give you the appearance that everything's all good. But so we need to look out for people, just check on them, not so much as in just chatting them. I can respond. That's a social response. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. But really inside, I'm dying there. So we need to check if we can make a conscious effort to see the person. If it's possible, fine. If it's not, just call. And I know you're telling me you're good, but are you really good? You want to talk about something. So let's reach out for people. Let's and let's learn to express our feelings. I wouldn't know you're going through stuff if you don't tell me. As much as I have what it takes to help you, if you don't open up, I can't tell you. So let's reach out and let's be one another. Let's make a deliberate effort, or rather, let's be deliberate about ensuring that we remain mentally healthy. I could go on and on, but I know we are way behind time, so I'll just hang it there and say, please, let's remember that there is no health without mental health, and it's important that we take conscious effort to remain mentally stable. Please reach out if you feel overwhelmed at any point in time. People that internalize things, that just keep things, are more prone to having some mental health problems like depression and suicide. But please express yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. So, are there signs of certain, maybe like someone that's anxious or depressed? I mean, are there like major signs people could look out for?
Okay. So can you take that again? I was reading the question, so I think I missed it. Are there signs that?
So I'll ask, like with this period, I know, yes, we say COVID, but COVID aside, there are other things like, I mean, we lost Dr. Ojeahere. I hope you've enjoyed the session. She was able to give us quite a few tips. It's interesting that, that figure of 7 million Nigerians suffering from depression is quite high. So I think the major thing with Nigeria is we're not very good with mental health. We still try to hide it. So I think it's good that government is helping to do more. We're seeing more people, but typically it's when people have severe cases of mental health issues that we hear about them or they reach out for help. It's not really that, people always gladly wave their hand and say something about being suffering from something.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it has to do with stigma. The stigma, and the stigma. Well, it's reducing, but I am sorry to say this, but Nollywood hasn't really helped us. So we need people in the entertainment industry to get out there and portray mental illness as it really is. It's not everybody that has a mental illness that would sing and dance funny and act weird. No. Once you are not able to function, interact well, not able to contribute, you might just be having a mental health problem. But we have the misconceptions out there. Our culture too has not really supported things. And when people have mental health problems, you say, yeah, it's a cause from the God or a punishment for a misdemeanor. So people are afraid to come out because they say, you see, I said it, and so they don't want to come out. But it's getting better. With conversations like this, it's changing. And it's actually changing. We are seeing more people, more professionals, more people come out and say, see, I can't sleep well. I have a sexual problem. Because I have a lot of patients who come in, particularly for the guys, they'll just say, I have a sexual problem. I'm having issues with my wife. I just can't seem to. And they just feel, but now they're getting to see that, yeah, that's one form of depression for guys. You just can't, or even females too. Sleep problems, sexual problems, and eating problems. But people are waiting to see when they are all tattered and disheveled and all that, and you say, that's his mental problem going along the road. But it's not always so. Yeah, I might need you to read the question. I was trying to read the question and somehow I sort of went out.
So how do you cope with grief during the lockdown? When you can't see family, you lose a loved one and you can't say goodbye properly. So how does one deal with that?
Yeah, well, thankfully now we don't have lockdown anymore. I'm assuming not anymore. But
well, in Nigeria,
some people had
there could be people watching somewhere else.
Oh, so
I said,
sorry.
well, let's be over with the response.
All right. Okay. So sorry about that. Well, let me start from Okay, so during the lockdown, people had to, because of the restrictions and all that, people couldn't see their loved ones. They couldn't mourn appropriately. They couldn't grieve appropriately. And so we had different forms of pathological grief. Some had delayed grief. Some were in disbelief that no, it's not happening. Rather, some were in denial. And some, that denial persisted and they've moved on, sort of, but they haven't really grieved. And it appears they're doing well. But the truth is, it's just a predisposing factor for a mental illness in the long term, because they've just compartmentalized it. They've kept it in a compartment that keep it there. I'm not going to deal with this. I'll deal with it when I'm strong enough. So that's why pardon me for being presumptuous, but I was going to say, for those who have had to lose loved ones and couldn't grieve appropriately there and somehow have moved on, in quotes, it's important that you reach out to a professional and talk about this and see. The fact of the matter is that psychiatrists, we don't always see mentally ill people, like people described in mentalo and all that. No, we see people who are very okay, who just need psychotherapy. They just need talk therapy. So you could just walk up to a psychotherapist or a psychologist, or no, sorry, a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, and let's talk about it. Let's walk through that grief together. Let's try, and it might most likely will be hurtful. It's going to bring back memories, but it will be better to deal with it now than when there are other stressors. Maybe this person over time has to face some stressors and now adds up to it, and before you know it, the person has a full breakdown. So if you haven't been able to grieve properly, just see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or psychotherapist, and then let's walk through this process together, and you'll be better for it. Because when you verbalize this, when you confront this, it's initially painful, but healing takes place. Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's good to know that we're progressing from a state of not vocalizing about mental health to a state where people are doing more, we're hearing more about it, and also we have more government support on this. So thank you very much for this session. The helplines for the state will be shown shortly so that people can always reach out. Have a good evening. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. Well done on watching. It was a nice session by Dr. Ojeahere on the effects of COVID, of course, and other pandemics on our mental well-being. Well, mental health is so important, something a lot of people forget. We look at physical fitness and, what we're eating. We're so focused on that, and we forget to take care of our minds. It's important to remember that if your mind isn't well, you actually aren't well. So please take care of your minds. We'll be going on to our next session, which is Breathwork by Sarah Boulos. Sarah is the founder of the Society for Performing Arts in Nigeria, which was set up for the purpose of building a performing arts center in Nigeria to educate, empower, and showcase performing artists and their God-given art. To date, SPAN has trained hundreds of artists into their professional field, showcased and partnered with over 100 NGOs and mission work, and provided an additional 80 jobs in the entertainment industry. Sarah has a strong faith in God, and with this, she has the foundation of her work. She will be taking us through a breathwork and stretch session now. Are we ready for Sarah?
I'm going to put a song. Can you hear me very well, Lola?
Yes, I can, Sarah.
All right. So I'm going to put a song. It's Sunday. So on Sunday, usually us believe in Jesus, we worship God. So I'm going to put a song, and we are going to go through the whole process. Because of time, they have asked me to do only 5 to 7 minutes. I cannot do more than that. So I'm going to take you not on a stretch. I usually start with the breath, and I go into the stretch for everyone. And then everybody experience the moment that they spend with God, soaking in His presence and stretching and breathing. So I'm going to use the 5-minute technique of the brain dance that I use before I start my hot stretches. Everything that I do has background music with songs and healing voices that call out to Christ. So it's 100% full Jesus-oriented breath work. So are you ready? Let me put the song. We're going to breathe in for 8. We're going to release it for, we're going to breathe in for 4. 4 breath. We're going to take in the breath and we're going to release it for 8. And we're going to do this 4 times. That is our first exercise. Are we ready? Let's go. I hope you're hearing the music. Father God, we just want to thank you for today, for everything that you have done around in our city, in our land, with the Eko Wellness Fair. We thank for the life of Lola, who has spent so much time in hosting this occasion. We thank you for Oyekonsola, who believes in you and is trying to make sure that her citizens are actually finding themselves and finding healing in the process. Take a deep breath. Hold it for 4. Release for 8. Take a deep breath. Hold it for 4. Release for 8. Hold it for 4. Release for 8. Last one, hold it for 4. Release for 8. Very well. I want you to use your facial expression. I want you to squeeze your ears, your neck, your arm. Everything is squeezing. Your shoulders, roll your shoulders. Squeeze your thighs, squeeze your breast, your buttocks. Your feet. Tap it up. I want you to move upward, only your upward arms. And take a deep breath again. Take your hands forward, wrap it around, and take a deep breath. I want you to tap it out. You do this throughout your whole body. Everything is being tapped out, your whole body down, all the way. Just tap it out. Awaken all these senses around your forehead, your earrings, your back, your arm, your chest, your backwards, everywhere. You just squeeze it out and tap it out until you wake up all these senses. And you meditate on what Christ has done for us. He has made us amazing temple of His Spirit. And we are here on earth for one thing only. One thing only is to bring His kingdom from heaven and release it into the atmosphere. There is no depression when we are focusing on Him. There is no disease. There is no pandemic in everything that happened. And I want you to think of this. I want you to declare it as you're doing it. There is nothing like the Christ that we know, that prays with us, that feels with us, that surrounds us with so much peace. I want you now to move only the right side of your body. So if you are mirroring me, it's your left side. So you are moving only the right side of your body, and you're stretching backward and forward. Stretching backward and forward. You're only using one side of your body. One side, the right side. You can do any movement you want. You can move on every time. You can swirl it, you can lift it, you can kick it, you can punch it, you can slash it, you can dab it, you can slice it, you can swirl it, you can wave it. And you take the left side. The left side is using the two sides of your brain, and you are going to do the same thing. You're going to move to the left and to the right using your leg and using your left arm and your left leg, and you are moving backward. You are separating your body into half, the right and the left side, and you are moving back and forth, soaking in the presence, listening, meditating on his words, and knowing that he's the healer. He's the healer of our bodies, the healer of our soul, he's the healer of our mind, and it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Everything can heal through the mind. And you move this one and you do 8 counts for me. And you keep moving, and moving. You come back together, you separate the two parts, the top parts and the bottom parts. You move only the upper parts, of your body. That's it. You can still be sitting down and doing it sitting down. Then you move the lower part. My legs are moving now. My waist is moving now. Everything is moving. Everything is just stretching down and up. And I'm taking a deep breath and holding for 4. Let's go. And release for 8. Your presence. Take it for 4. Release for 8. Your presence. Now I want you to take your fingers and I want you to breathe in and look at your fingers and follow your fingers. Your presence. Breathe in and out slowly. Listen to the music. Bask in this. Then you are going to go and watch your fingers going vertically up and down. Breathe in and out. Take deep breath. You are feeling your lungs and you are releasing it. Four more counts. As you release, you think of the right side touching the left side. The left side touching the right side. I want you to cross. You are going to cross and take your left leg and touch with your right hand. You're going to take your left hand and touch with your right leg. Left, right hand, touch with your left leg, and you're going to go cross, cross, cross. This is the cross-lateral movement for the brain to pick up on two sides of the brain. And you are moving to the right and to the left. To the right and to the left. At the same time, you take your hands to the side and you pull it all the way down and take a deep breath. You take another one, you take to the other side and a deep breath. As we are moving into the brain dance, the last part of the brain dance is to move right and left, your neck. Then you move your hips. You move the hips, it can be left and right, moving your hips left and right. So you take your, if you're still sitting down, you can move left and right your hips to the side, left and right. You're just moving. It's just a move. And you are basking into the presence of that music and you're just moving. Then you can take your head down and bring your head down to the hips and turning back. And turn down to the hips and turning back, and turn down to the hips and turning back, and turn down to the hips and turning back. And you come back into the breath work and you go again for 4 and 8. Let's go. Release for 8. Take it. And release. The last part I want you to do is I want you to turn, and it's something that can give you dizziness, but it's amazing the effect it has. I want you to do 2 more exercises for me of breath, using your body and using your stretches. It's going to be from small to big. You grow from small to big and small to big. Okay, so we're going to do that together, right? So you take everything small and everything big, everything expand into a big movement. And you come back into a small movement. And everything goes back into a big movement. And you are still and you know that God is around you. You are still and you know that God protects you. You are still and you know that God heals you. You are still and you know that God is with you. And you come back slowly. And you stretch out. Slowly expanding every limb and every arm. And you come back very small. I am still sitting down doing all these exercises and I'm basking in the music. I'm basking in my breath. I'm listening and I'm breathing in and out. I'm going back in. And I'm going back out. We do this exercise for about 16 times, just whether we are standing up or we're sitting, whether we cannot walk or we are on a chair, we are just coming very small and very big. And nothing can stop us. We are totally surrounded by a spirit that is beyond this earth, beyond any disease, beyond any condition, because we are basking in His presence and we are declaring and we are knowing that He heals us. And then finally is the one that has been the most difficult for me because, you know, I turned 50, so it's very hard for me and I get dizzy, but it's so important. It's about the vestibular system. When you are spinning until you get dizzy, then you spin on the other side until you get dizzy again. And when you do that, something happens. Something is cleared in your vestibular quickly and you are shaking the fluid of this brain. And of course, if you listen to your favorite music, then nothing can stop you. So that's my last stretch for today because I have such a short amount of time to speak with you. I'm so happy to have been here. And I thank you, Eko Wellness, for giving me the opportunity to share the brain dance that I use with my soaking music in Jesus. So we're going to turn and we're going to spin as fast as possible. So you're going to spin for me. Spin until you get dizzy. Spin, 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 and hold. Take a deep breath. Now you spin on the other side. Let's go. Spin on the other side. Spin, 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 spin. Spin faster, spin faster, spin faster, spin faster. 15 times and hold. And take a deep breath. I usually finish all my stretches with 2 kinds of breath. A breath that is timed, the one that where you release the breath, and for 30 seconds, I'm going to count that now. I'm going to change the music, and I'm going to count for you. This is my last part, okay? So we're gonna go. So we're gonna release the breath, and let's go. I wanna go deeper, farther into your love. Tonight, wanna go deeper, One more to go faster. Let's go. And that's it for my little time with you. Lola, are you here?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
That was so relaxing. It was
Thank
so
you.
relaxing. Thank you.
I have used this so many times, and every time I do the hot stretches that I use in my classes, these are the beginning and the end, because I believe that when you actually stimulate your brain with the right music, the right liquid by your side, and the right meditation process, then there is a total healing that happens. And I use this also before I dance for Christ. So it's called the brain dance, and I've used it over and over again throughout all my exercises.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So who was spinning? I tried the spinning. I did get dizzy, and well, I'm okay. So that was good. For people who don't practice deep breathing, I encourage you to try it. It's quite relaxing, and it really centers you and helps you be present. Because a lot of times we're not present. We're so busy being distracted by social media and other people. So, Sarah's session, such a lovely session. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. It was really, really good. So, we're getting to the last bit of today's session. I hope you've enjoyed everything, right from the storytelling to the cooking demonstration, as well as the chat by Dr. Ojeahere about COVID, the effects of COVID, the pandemic, and lockdowns. And of course, the lovely session by Sarah. Please be reminded that there's online shopping. Don't forget about that. So that's there. We will post a link shortly. We're going on to our last session, which is a short film curated by AMAA, Rodflix, and In Short Film Festival. Today's film is from Kenya, Face Mask for Sale, and it is by Neha Manoj Shah, who is with us and will share about the film afterwards. Stay tuned and enjoy. We're just waiting shortly for the film to show. But in the meantime, please visit the store. The link is being showed on the screen. It's flutterwave.com/ng/Eko Wellness. Or you go onto ekowellness.net and click on the store, and there you'll find all the amazing vendors that are part of the Eko Wellness Fair. Enjoy shopping. Okay, we're back. We're just going to have Neha Manoj Shah to share about the film. Is Neha available? Oh, so sorry, we don't have her available. Seems to have some connectivity issues. She'll join. When she joins, we will put her on. Okay, here she is. When she joins, we will put her on. Hello, Neha. Okay, here she is. Can you hear me? Hello, Neha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Brilliant,
can.
thank you.
Okay, so tell us about your film, please.
Yeah, what would you like to know?
Let's start with your thoughts. What the thoughts behind making the movie were.
Um, yeah, so this film was actually shot during the lockdown, and it was really important that we did it in the middle of the first wave. And what was going on in my mind was carers. Our government doesn't even think about carers. You know, women looking after people, actually looking after children, people looking after old people, and our government does not at all think about us and what we're going through. And that became a major uh, idea for the film, because of course the children were very scared. But what happened to the mothers? Because you're looking after your children's mental health, but you're overlooking your own. And this was something that I really wanted to talk about and actually voice it out to people who don't understand what women are going through. Because I think from the start, we've always been told to how do you say it? Like, wear a mask when you're in public, always show that you're strong, that everything is fine. And really inside it isn't. And we need to tell people that we're also not okay.
Okay. And what was lockdown like in Kenya?
It was scary. It was very scary. I think everyone globally went through the same thing.
Mm.
I guess, the directives were, people followed the directives, and that was a good thing, and that's why our numbers have always kind of been low compared to the other parts of the world. Even filming, everything was shut down, especially with the and we found a way to work around it. Please, if the Kenyan government is listening to this. Yeah, we kind of did this on a very hush-hush and kind of keeping in line with the directives, keeping my main actress Kavoshi very, very safe, because she was 7 months pregnant at that time. And that was, I think, more than us getting COVID, I was very scared for her. And she was such a good sport, and she was like, no, it's okay, we can do this, your story is important and we need to do it now. And especially now that I am 7 months pregnant, I don't think I can wait any longer for this film to be made.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, Noha. We'll now go on to play the movie. Thank you.
Thank you, Lola.
Thank you for sharing your story, Neha. And so we've come to the end of day 2. I hope you've enjoyed the various sessions we have had. Thank you to everyone who's participated today. Thank you to Get Africa. Thank you, Mr. Akinshola Olatinwo and Mr. Shea Awonsoya, for joining us and sharing your COVID stories with us. Thank you, Dr. Ojeahere, for sharing more about mental health and what's going on presently with us. Thank you for the breath work and stretch session, Sarah. And of course, thank you, Neha, for your short film. The health lines will be shown on the screen for those who need to reach out for any mental health related issues. The schedule for tomorrow will also be shown. this is a reminder, I know it was mentioned yesterday, that during the week, that's Monday to Friday, the fair is on from 12 noon till 2 p.m. Please note that so that you don't miss out on the rest of the amazing sessions that we have coming up this week. We also have a 10-kilometer coffee cycle ride on Saturday, the 8th of October, with the Pit Stop cycling community. If you cycle, whatever level, beginner, advanced, whatever it is, go to our website, which is www.ekowellness.net to register. Be reminded to go to the Flutterwave store to get shopping going on, or go onto the Eko Wellness website as well, and then click on store, and it'll take you straight to the Flutterwave page where you'll see the list of our vendors and you can get shopping. Thank you for joining day 2. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.